Hello everyone, I Deepani Bhardwaj welcomes you all again, and today we'll be discussing the difference between the salary in the private banks and the salary in the government banks. That is, we are going to discuss the most discussed topic or the topic that everyone has in his mind, that what's the difference or what's the exact difference between the salary in private bank and the salary in government bank. So let's start with this topic and let's understand each and everything regarding both. See, private banks jobs versus government bank jobs. Every year, many notifications are released by private as well as government banks. If we look at our past few years, we have seen that there is a rise in the number of private sector banks. That is, the private sector banks have increased. And there are many private banks, isn't it? Even you may be having your account, or if you are working somewhere, your account will be in the private bank. Most probably, your account will be in the private bank. So, in today's dates, candidates are more reluctant to apply for a private bank thinking of the work pressure. The reality is that banking industry has been growing at a very fast rate. The competition has been increasing, and hence work pressure in both the private banks and government banks are increasing. That is, students think that in the government bank there would be a lot of pressure, in the private bank there would be less pressure. It's not like that. Work pressure is almost same in all the banks, because see, no doubt our population is increasing, but apart from that you can see that there are various different activities that are also increasing in the bank. There are different yojnas that come, there are different features that are added up. So work pressure is almost same in both the banks. So please do not think that it is having less work pressure or it is having high work pressure. So today we are going to discuss about the job profile, postings, pay scale and other things for both the private as well as the government bank jobs. Fine. So let's start with the vacancy part. Talking about the private bank rarely releases notification. I don't think so that you have seen its notification in your newspaper or any notification that is coming up in the news channels, isn't it? So most of the private bank tie up with the training institutes where they train graduates with all the needed banking skills. As you know that there are many universities, many colleges which keeps on giving you ad, isn't it? Bank will directly not give you the ad. Those institutes give the ad that you can have a course at our institute and we will be giving you placements in those particular banks, no matter it is Axis, ICICI or any of the private bank. Fine. So they also partner with many colleges and recruit students through placements. Fine. There are more than 20 private banks in our country. They don't qualify candidates on the basis of reservation quota. That is, reservation quota doesn't work here. Fine. But talking about the government bank, the vacancies of the government bank are released. The vacancies are quite less in comparison to the private banks, but they advertise their notification. You can see the notification that comes up in the newspaper, magazines, isn't it? So they release their notification, and they also follow the reservation quota where the reservation are divided into the general part, OBC, SC, ST, EWS. Fine. So government banks vacancies are quite less in comparison to private banks. Moreover, their reservation are also given for the general category. This particular seats are there. For the OBC category, this much seats are there. So there is a reservation also here. Fine. Now, talking about the pay scale part, the most important part where everyone has doubt, isn't it? So talking about the private bank first, private banks are the stepping stone for aspiring bankers. They look at it as an opportunity to learn the needed skills and enter into a highly competitive banking industry. The salary structure of the private sector banks is quite less as compared to public sector banks. It is mainly for the entry level positions of clerk or PO get quite low, as much as half of what the public sector banks offer. It's not exactly half, it is almost half. But if I talk about the entry level position, there is a quite difference is there. We can't say that in the entry time it is exactly half. Fine. So let's have a discussion on what is the salary structure. In the private bank, a PO gets in hand salary of around 34,561. This amount I have taken from one of the private bank salary structure of a PO. I'll tell how that salary structure is divided. So 34,561 includes all the perks and the allowances. Let us see an example of the salary structure of a private bank PO. So one of the private bank's PO salary structure is here. You will be getting the basic pay of 11,000 per month, house rent allowances of 5,000, conveyance allowances of 2,500, superannuation allowance of 1,650, leave travel allowance of 2,000 rupees, additional HRA allowance of 3,125, canteen you will be given 1,300 rupees for that, medical benefits of 1,250 rupees, and PF and gratuity of 2,236 rupees, and the performance pay is of 4,500 rupees. So when you total it up, you will be getting 34,561 amount. Fine. So this is the salary structure for the PO of a private bank. No doubt it is a good salary structure and it will keep on increasing because increment will also be given. But let's compare it with the government bank now. So talking about the government bank now, government bank jobs are considered to be an allied job in the society. So exams such as SBI, IBPS gets lakhs of form every year for a couple of thousand vacancies. That is, the forms that are applied are quite high in comparison to the vacancies that are released by the individual banks. So the competition is very high to qualify a public sector bank exam. After the 7th pay scale commission, the public sector bank employees have received a major hike in their salary. A public sector bank such as SBI PO employee has a moving package of rupees 8 lakh per annum. An SBI clerk gets enhanced salary of rupees 25,000 with other benefits. The basic pay might seem less, but the additional perk and allowances for a person working in public sector banks are quite high. So we have listed the details of the monthly salary structure of SBI PO employee. See, the basic pay of SBI PO employee is 27,620. Fine. And this increment is there in the four stages where the fourth increment is of 42,020 rupees. And apart from this basic pay, you will be getting the DNS allowance of 46.9% of your basic pay. House rent allowance is also given where the minimum amount is rupees 8,000 which is for the rural area and the maximum house rent allowance is 29,500 for the urban area. Talking about the city compensatory allowance, that is your CCA, it's 3% to 4%. It depends upon the place of your posting. Petrol's reimbursement is also given. You will be given around 1,100 to 1,300 rupees in case absence of the personal vehicle, and the miscellaneous 4,000 rupees is given. So the in-hand SBI PO salary is approximately 40 to 45,000, and that too this we are talking about only the starting. If we take it on an average, it goes around 60,000 rupees also. Fine, as you can see, there is a major difference between the HRA in the rural and urban area. The difference you can see it, the minimum is 8,000, maximum is almost around 30,000. And similarly, you can take the basic pays example also. The basic pays of 27,620 for the starting part, and in the fourth increment itself it is going to 42,020. So you can see the major difference. So your package is really going to be very high. Fine. And apart from this, other benefits are also there. You will be getting the medical benefits, isn't it? Apart from that, even for the furniture allowance is also given, and it's a very high amount. So there are very quite, I'll say it's the most beneficial part, that it is getting many benefits in comparison to the private banks. Fine. Now talking about the posting and transfer, employees of government banks are transferred frequently over a period of time. You might end up getting posted in your dream city or might be posted to a rural area, and the posting is comparably low in case of private banks. Makes the job more stable. That is, in government banks you may be transferred frequently, but it is not so in the private banks. Also, there are fewer chances of you being posted in rural area in the private banks. Fine, most of the private banks are in the urban area or in the quite developed area. Now let's have a conclusion on this topic now. So we can conclude that it depends on the candidate's perspective and priorities. If someone is willing to dedicate and prepare for a public sector bank, they can do. If someone is urgently in the need of job, they can check out vacancies of a private sector banks. So the perks and benefits also play a major role in decision making for the prospective career growth. So most importantly, what candidates look at is the salary structure, and hence they play their path by taking into consideration all the factors that we have discussed. So these were all the important points where you can decide that you want to enter into a private bank or in the government bank. We have already discussed about the salary part, and yeah, that was the starting part of the salary no doubt increases, but I have already told you that there are, see, everything is having its pros and cons, that is everything has its merits and demerits, and similarly this is also with your private and government bank as well. Fine. So you can decide on your own that which is best for you, and if you are in urgent need of the job, you can enter into the private sector job, and if you have quite time, you can prepare well, then just wait for few months, prepare well, and enter into the government sector job. And for entering for the government sector job, we are available for you anytime, anywhere. The application is available for you. So on the application, please keep on giving test so that you can boost up your rank and you can be aware what is your weak and what is your strong point. So we at Entri are always available for you. So please do like, comment and share as much as possible. So thanking you for watching this video. Thanks a lot.